Like, I wasn't even gonna make a video today, but I'm that fucking angry. So, I'm somebody who's in a situation where I have to really care about my diet because I have a goal that I'm trying to achieve. Um, in such things, I've been looking for a safe alternative to just ice cream, right? It's getting hot. I'm a big fan of ice cream. I'm a big fan of cookies and cream, to be more specific. But that was the one thing that I really, there are a few things that I can't substitute for my buying habits. French fries being one of them. If you've never made French fries, I don't expect you to understand that you can't get that same level of crispiness a French fry gives you without a few extra steps. And then even starting that whole process, very difficult, requires you to temperature control, blah, 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 all this other shit, right? And one of the other ones was ice cream. You can eat vanilla ice cream. Vanilla ice cream is actually fairly, good for you. But I'm entering a stage where it's getting very difficult for me to get the results that I want. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying that I can't find it. I'm pretty sure I can find some safe alternative to ice cream. I could probably make my own if I go through the process of looking for the ingredients. That's not my point. My point that I ultimately want to get to is the fact that there are so many chemicals in food that it is astonishing to me that everybody's kind of going along with whatever rhetoric we're going on with now. But I don't know. This thought came to the forefront when I was at the supermarket and I had looked, right? So for these last 2 to 3 days, I've been on a constant search for a safe alternative to ice cream. And by a safe alternative, I just mean one that is safe for me to eat and not completely ruin or throw me out of whack from my fasting diet that I'm currently going through. It's not like anything extreme. It's 24 hours, 48 hours, or whatever. Point is, you can't introduce certain foods to your system while you're doing this diet because it causes too much inflammation. And if it causes inflammation, your internal organs, your stomach, your face, in some cases, there are adverse reactions when it comes down to the kidney, the liver, blah, 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 the stomach. It all depends on your condition. And in mine, I'm lactose intolerant. That's an aspect of it, but it's also the fact that whatever ingredients are in the ice cream, my face bloats up. I get very round faces. It's not a big problem. I could get over it, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I want something cold. So I looked through the whole supermarket, found my alternative, another plane. Went to various supermarkets, did the whole thing, looked at the ingredients list, and there were very few alternatives that I could be okay with eating, right, and introducing into my system. But there was one thing that I found across all major brands of ice cream. Seed oils, terrible oils, and not so necessarily clear, like what kind of milk they're using, or some of the ingredients are very difficult to pronounce. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to it's all chemical based. And so I'm like, all right, fine. Today was the last day that I gave up on looking for any of this shit. But because I live in California and I live in LA, I live very close to the border, that there are products here that are created in Mexico that come across the border, right? So I get to see them from Mexican ice cream to Mexican sodas to Mexican candies. But the bigger point is the fact that their regulations are vastly more different than ours. And if you look at any of their products, they use real sugar. They don't use high fructose corn syrup. They don't use synthetic versions of sucralose, let alone not tell you what kind of form of sugar they're using. But Mexican products overall generally use cane sugar. And the ingredients that they use aren't as long of a list as we see here from whatever comes out of the FDA. So I just sit there and wonder to myself, so you're telling me, another plane. So you're telling me that at the end of the day, Mexican products use far more healthier alternatives to their ingredients list than America? You're telling me that a third world country has better food regulations than American? Oh no, but you're taking this out of context. There's no way that anybody here in America would lie about how bad things are. So it's Mexico's fault, obviously. They're the ones lying about their ingredients list. And I'm like, are you retarded? Like, that product made it over to the States. So are you saying that the FDA and this other entities across the border are working alongside together to sell poisonous products to the American culture? Think the things you're saying out loudly. Think them all through. At the end of the day, I'm only pointing out that I refuse to eat anything with high fructose corn syrup or any form of sucralose that I can identify immediately. But the point still stands. Everyone is eating high fructose corn syrup. They're eating things that are approved by the FDA, previously known as the Bureau of Chemistry, and they're willingly. The epidemic here we're having in America is absolutely insane. But for people to just kind of like, oh, we're slaves, da, da, da. Well, admit that you're eating slave food. Admit that first. Admit that we have a fucking food crisis. That they'd rather prefer you fill you up with synthetic things, because if you think about it, at the end of the day, if you eat crap, you will feel like crap and your body will develop crap cells. And if you kind of add radiation poisoning and then you add blockages of immune systems, and then, well, you know, that's already getting a little too far for everybody here. But think about that. That a first world nation refuses to use safe sugars, while a third world country across the border only uses real sugar. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. Trust the science? Sure.